Want a break from the ads? Want a break from the ads? Want a break from the ads? Want a break from the ads?
The longest gaming streak I've ever been on was when I played Valorant for 10 hours straight from 7 PM at night to 5 AM in the morning. And I distinctly remember seeing the sunrise outside my window and thinking to myself, what the frick am I doing with my life? And so from that moment onwards, I decided I would stop gooning to Mia Khalifa and began gooning to Riley Reid instead. Anyways, apparently it's possible to game for so long that you actually die. The worst gamer deaths ever by Simple Paints.
The Call of Duty swatting. On December 28, 2017, two Call of Duty players in the United States got into an online argument over a $1.50 wagered match. One player, Casey Viner, asked another, Tyler Barris, to swat his opponent by calling police to his address. Barris dialed 911 in Los Angeles and reported a fake hostage situation in Wichita, Kansas. The address he gave was not his rival's, but belonged to 28-year-old Andrew Finch, who had no connection to the dispute. Police surrounded Finch's home. When he opened the door, officers ordered him to raise his hands. Confused, he moved slightly, and an officer fired a single shot. Finch was killed instantly in front of his family. The case shocked the gaming world. Barris was later sentenced to 20 years in prison, while Viner received a shorter sentence.
Bro, so you're telling me this random innocent guy, he had no connection at all to the game? Like, he just got randomly shot from a swap? Like who, bro, who is this police officer? How do you just pull up to a random house and you tell some random guy, don't move or I'll shoot you, and then they move and then you shoot them and they die? Like, how, like, bro, okay, like, I understand it's in the wording, but like, how do you actually do that in real life? Like, you do not do that in real life. But where do they get this address from? Like, did they just open up the, what is it, Yellow Pages? Was that a thing back then? The Yellow Pages, they just pick some random address and they just like call the police to swat that random address? Because how could they remotely think that address was connected to the other guy that he was like in an argument with? Because how would he possibly get this guy's address? Like, there is no way to get another person's address over Call of Duty, like just from like the internet and that stuff. Because if there was a way to get their address, bro, I assume there would be so many, like millions of swatting cases. Like, the swatting cases would increase by so much. Because this was all over a $1.50 bet. Like a $1.50 bet. So he lost. And so he wanted to swat the other guy so that he would win the bet. $1.50. And so now that $1.50 has landed him 20 years in prison. Because how are you meant to like react in this sort of situation? Like, if you do get swatted, you get accidentally miss-swatted, and you go outside the door, you have a bunch of police there. Like, you would think it's a prank. You would be very confused. But at the same time, yeah, I feel like if the police are shouting at you to like, you know, freeze or I'll shoot you, perhaps the best idea is to just assume that it's legit and just like do not move a single muscle.
The Pokemon electrocution. On July 9th, 2017, in Iloilo City, Philippines, a 12-year-old boy was playing Pokemon Go with friends. They wandered near a construction site while searching for digital creatures. The boy, holding his phone, climbed onto a metal structure close to overhead power lines. Witnesses said he lost his balance and reached out for support. His hand made contact with a live electrical cable. A loud crack followed, and he collapsed instantly. Friends screamed for help, and bystanders rushed over. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but the boy showed no signs of life. He was pronounced dead from electrocution. Authorities confirmed that he had been distracted by the game, which led him into a dangerous area. The accident was covered by local news outlets and cited as part of a series of Pokemon Go-related fatalities worldwide, where players, focused on the screen, entered dangerous environments.
Bro, but I mean, how can you get so distracted that you actively climb up a pole and touch a wire? Like, is this really distraction? Like, with distraction, I sort of visualize like a person on their phone and then they walk onto the road into oncoming traffic. But this, bro, he just walked up to a pole, made the conscious decision to climb the pole, but like, is he getting distracted by this? Is he like climbing it like with his left arm while like playing Pokemon Go with his right arm? There is no way this is distraction. He made the conscious decision to climb this pole. So I don't know whether you can blame Pokemon Go for this. I think that is his like decision. So I think what happened here is that like they probably saw that there were Pokemon in like this area, in this sort of construction zone, because since it's a construction zone, like I assume not a lot of people would be here, and so there would be like a high population density of Pokemon to be caught, because like they haven't been caught from like the other people yet. And so they came here to find Pikachu, the electric type Pokemon, but instead he became a electric type Pokemon himself. No offense, that was kind of dark.
The StarCraft incident. On August 5th, 2005, 28-year-old Lee Sung-seop entered an internet cafe in Daegu, South Korea. He ordered a soda, logged into StarCraft, and began playing. Hours turned into days. Witnesses said he rarely moved from his chair, taking only short breaks to the toilet. By the second night, he had been at the keyboard for nearly 50 hours. His posture sagged, his eyes bloodshot, but he kept clicking. The cafe manager urged him to stop, but Lee shook his head and loaded another match. At dawn on the third day, he suddenly collapsed. Paramedics arrived quickly, but he was unresponsive. At the hospital, doctors confirmed cardiac arrest brought on by exhaustion, dehydration, and blood clotting from immobility. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival.
Bro, surely StarCraft can't even be that good. I don't even know what StarCraft is. Is that like Star Wars, Star Trek? Bro, what even is this game? I've never seen this before. Is it called StarCraft? Is this the right game? So you're telling me some guy was so addicted to this game that he played for 3 days straight and died? I mean, bro, how can anyone get addicted to a game that looks like this? This honestly looks like Raid Shadow Legends. Like, imagine playing Raid Shadow Legends for 3 days straight and dying. Honestly, I feel like I'd much rather die from playing Roblox than playing this game. What is this StarCraft? Is this actually StarCraft? But he died from a cardiac arrest, apparently. So you're telling me this game, this 2D game, gave someone a heart attack? Like, not like a horror game like FNAF, because I would have thought that maybe, you know, you get jump scared so badly by FNAF that you get a heart attack and die. But instead, you get jump scared by this. Like, this is a bunch of Raid Shadow Legends. No offense, of course. Okay, no offense.
The Lineage 2 incident. On March 29th, 2005 in Shanghai, two friends, Qiu Chengwei and Zhu Kaoyuan, played the online game Lineage 2. Qiu loaned Zhu a powerful virtual sword, the Dragon Saber. Weeks later, Zhu sold it for 7,200 yuan without permission. Furious, Qiu demanded its return. When Zhu refused, Qiu reported the theft to police. At the time, Chinese law did not recognize virtual property as real, and no charges were filed. On the evening of March 29th, Qiu confronted Zhu in person. The argument escalated into violence. Qiu drew a knife and stabbed Zhu repeatedly. Zhu died from his wounds. Qiu was arrested at the scene. In June 2005, he was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. The killing became one of the first high-profile cases linking disputes over virtual items to real-world homicide, sparking debate in China over the value and legal status of digital property.
Damn, so this guy actually used the Dragon Saber in real life to unalive his friend. So while this guy sold the Dragon Saber, this guy retrieved it IRL and may or may not have unalived his friend using the Dragon Saber. That is insane. Even I have a Dragon Saber over here. But technically, he didn't steal it, because this guy loaned it to this guy. So he let him borrow it, but then this guy sold it. That is, like, the most messed up thing you can do whenever someone, like, lets you borrow something. Like, imagine if someone borrowed your car from you, and then, like, you know, the next week when you go to collect your car from them, you realize that they've just sold your car, and that you have no car. Like, and they've stolen the cash, and then they've gone and gambled the cash, and then, like, they've lost all the cash at the casino. Like, that is not only, like, unethical, but it's just also extremely frustrating. That is just annoying. How much was it? 7,200 yuan. Oh my god. It was 1,000 US dollars. The Dragon Saber was 1,000 US dollars. Jesus. What dragon did that even come from? And this was 2005 as well. Let's go and inflation adjust that. So it would be worth 1,500 US dollars today. That is very expensive. That is probably more expensive than some CSGO knives.
The Minecraft incident. On July 19th, 2015, a 17-year-old boy entered an internet cafe in Pampanga, Philippines. He logged into Minecraft and began what became a marathon session. Witnesses said he played for almost 3 straight days, taking only brief naps at the desk. Staff grew concerned when they noticed he had not eaten properly and had barely moved from his chair. On the 3rd day, as he leaned forward to type, his body went limp. He collapsed onto the keyboard and did not get up again. Friends called for help, and staff attempted first aid. Paramedics arrived, but pronounced him dead at the scene. Local doctors later cited cardiac failure linked to severe exhaustion and dehydration after continuous gaming.
Bro, but what do they mean by a Minecraft marathon? 3 days straight playing Minecraft? Bro, doesn't it only take 15 minutes to speedrun Minecraft? Like, if it's taking you 3 days, like more than 3 days to beat Minecraft, I feel like... Okay, no offense, of course, but I feel like you may have some other issues. Like, there may be some bigger issues here at play. No offense. Okay, no offense, of course. Because me personally, bro, I hop onto Minecraft and I can beat it within 1 hour max. Or maybe he was like in creative mode, or like he was just trying to do like a survival world. He was trying to immerse himself into the game, and so he spent 3 days like, you know, chopping down wood, building his house, building his empire. But how can you get distracted that much by Minecraft that you like you forget to eat, you forget to drink, you forget everything? Like, Minecraft isn't that immersive because it literally looks like this. Like, does this look like a realistic graphic to you? Is this immersive to you? Like, how can you confuse this with real life? Like, I would understand if you were in VR and like everything was very realistic, like you were playing GTA in VR, like GTA 6 in VR, then maybe I'd understand you'd get confused between, you know, in-game and real life because like the lines are a little bit blurred. But this is very obviously a game, and so can't you just, you know, unimmerse yourself from it, go to the bathroom, like do a wee, drink some of the toilet water, drink any water to stay hydrated, and then I think he would have survived because he died from the dehydration cardiac arrest thingy.
The World of Warcraft incident. On February 1st, 2007, a 26-year-old man walked into an internet cafe in Guangzhou, China. He sat down, opened World of Warcraft, and began to play. Witnesses later said he barely spoke, only pausing for instant noodles or brief toilet breaks. Day 1 passed, then day 2. He remained in the same seat, eyes fixed on the screen, fingers steady on the mouse. By the 3rd day, his movement slowed. At 10 a.m., he suddenly slumped forward onto the desk. Other customers thought he had fallen asleep. After several minutes without motion, staff went to check. They shook his shoulder, but he was limp. An ambulance was called. When paramedics arrived, he showed no pulse. Doctors at the nearest hospital declared him dead, citing cardiac arrest linked to extreme exhaustion and dehydration after 3 days of continuous gaming.
Bro, why is it always 3 days? It's always the 3-day mark. It's not even like 2 days, 4 days. It's always 3 days they end up dying from cardiac arrest due to dehydration. So does that mean if he was like continuously drinking water but like not eating food, he would have made it past the 3-day mark? But I've never played World of Warcraft before, but I've seen images of it. But bro, how can this game consume you for 3 days straight? Like, surely you would get a little bit bored of it after 3 days. Because this guy's 26 years old. Doesn't he have a part-time job or a full-time job? He would have a full-time job by now. And so 3 days, that's longer than a weekend. Like, maybe it was a long weekend, like public holiday. But if he had a job, like, doesn't he have like a job to go to? I think this is why jobs in the world are important, because they prevent you from like, you know, doing stuff like this. Because let's just say hypothetically, for example, if there were no jobs in this world, like no jobs existed, then I feel like a lot of people would just be spending their entire days playing video games all day, every day. And then a lot of them would end up dying from the 3-day rule. Like 3 days, they die from the cardiac arrest due to, was it dehydration and all that stuff?
The Counter-Strike incident. On February 26, 2010, in Chongqing, China, 2 men in their 20s sat in an internet cafe playing Counter-Strike. They began to argue over strategy and insults in the game. Witnesses said the argument grew heated, with both shouting loud enough to attract attention across the room. One man stood up and pushed the other. Staff intervened and briefly separated them, but the fight continued outside the cafe. The aggressor grabbed a knife and stabbed his opponent multiple times in the chest and abdomen. Bystanders called for help, but the victim collapsed on the pavement before paramedics arrived. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police quickly arrested the attacker, who admitted to losing his temper during the argument. The killing was widely reported in Chinese media as another example of internet cafe disputes turning deadly. Local authorities used the case to highlight the growing problem of violence connected to online gaming in public spaces.
And I assume that's why China has that rule now. Isn't it like 3 hours, like 1 hour of screen time every single day? You're only allowed to play 1 hour of games every single day. So in 2021, there was a gaming ban for people under 18, limiting play to 90 minutes on weekdays and 3 hours on weekends. And they also banned gameplay between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. Okay, Jesus. You know what? This probably had something to do with that. Because this was 2010, 10 years before they introduced this sort of rule. Video games causes violence. It's proven with this case. But the strange thing is that the argument wasn't about like, you know, personal insults. It was about in-game insults. So they were insulting each other's Counter-Strike skills. But I mean, what skills are involved in Counter-Strike? Like, you just need to know the lineups, the mollies, the flashbangs, the smokes, and then you need to know like stop and shoot. Like, it's just mainly aim. Like, how can you insult someone else's aim? Like, can't you just like get good? Like, just get better. Just train your aim. And then instead of pulling out a knife out of a CS:GO case, he instead pulls out a knife in real life and stabs his friend to death. That is insane. Too much video games. This is proof. Too much video games causes violence. The only reason why he even owns a knife is because knives are in CS:GO. It's all because of this.
The Wii Fit incident. On December 28, 2009, 25-year-old Tim Eves from Sittingbourne, Kent, received a Nintendo Wii Fit as a Christmas present. Excited to try it, he began using the console's fitness programs on Boxing Day. Family members later reported that he exercised intensely for several hours with the balance board and aerobic mini-games. That evening, after finishing a workout, he complained of chest pains and shortness of breath. His mother urged him to rest. Minutes later, he collapsed in the living room. Paramedics were called immediately. Despite resuscitation attempts, he was declared dead at the scene. An inquest found that Tim had suffered a sudden cardiac arrhythmia. Though rare, doctors noted that strenuous physical activity can sometimes trigger fatal heart irregularities in young adults. The case was widely reported in the UK as the first known death linked to Wii Fit activity.
Bro, since when was this even possible? To overdose on exercise? So you're not gonna overdose on some sort of like illicit substance? You're just gonna overdose on exercise? But imagine the parents, bro. Like, you bought your son this Wii Fit and the Wii Fit is what ended up killing him. They would feel so guilty. Because if they hadn't have given their son the Wii Fit, then he wouldn't have died. That is insane. But these stupid aerobic minigames. Okay, like my family had a Wii Fit but nobody ever used it. It just seemed like I don't even know. It just seemed so strange. Like exercising while playing video games. Like we had it. Like I looked at it and I just never wanted to use it because like the idea of it just seemed a little bit strange. So I don't know how it feels and how like, you know, intensive it can get. But this guy was dedicated. The day after he receives it, he just goes straight like it's a 9 to 5 for him. 8 hours straight on that Wii Fit. I mean, he's making the most of the present to show that he's appreciative of the present. But instead, that appreciation and dedication got him killed. That is very sad. That is wait, was there a lawsuit? There was no successful lawsuits against Nintendo for deaths related to Wii Fit. One man died in 2009, but it was not attributed to a product defect. Okay, so I guess that's why they can't lawsuit it.
The League of Legends incident. On November 14th, 2012, a 23-year-old man entered an internet cafe in Wuhan, China. He sat at a terminal, logged into League of Legends, and began to play. Staff said he had been a regular customer, sometimes staying for long sessions, but this time he remained in his seat for nearly 23 hours without pause. Other patrons noticed him shifting uncomfortably, rubbing his chest, but he kept on playing. As the morning turned into afternoon, his body weakened. At 3 p.m., he suddenly slumped back in his chair. His arms fell to his side, the mouse slipped from his hand. The attendant rushed over, calling his name, but he was unresponsive. Paramedics were summoned immediately. By the time they arrived, his pulse was faint and irregular. He was transported to a nearby hospital, where doctors attempted to resuscitate him. He was declared dead shortly afterward. Medical staff attributed the death to cardiac arrest brought on by fatigue, dehydration, and prolonged immobility. It was one of several such incidents reported in China during that period.
Wait, there were more of these? Everyone in China just dying from League of Legends? Out of all games, League of Legends? Like, I haven't played League of Legends before, but like I know that the games are very long. Like perhaps like the games can be like perhaps like an hour each, like an hour for a single match. So this guy played 23 hours straight, which was maybe 23 matches straight, and he didn't move a single muscle. How can a game be that like addicting, bro? Like, I've seen League of Legends once. I tried it once, and it was very boring, no offense. Because look at this, bro. You're just clicking around. It's like Club Penguin. You click, and then it moves. You click again, and it moves. And then you click somewhere else, it moves. Maybe League of Legends is like a Guna game? Who is this? Damn. Damn. But this guy was 23 years old. He was about to begin his life. He was about to start life, probably start full-time work, start everything. But instead, everything is just cut short because of League of Legends. Like, perhaps he was trying to become a streamer, like a League of Legends streamer, and so he had to, like, you know, increase his skill first. But even then, it's not really worth dying to become a streamer, honestly. Like, it is not worth dying to become anything, honestly.
The Halo incident. On October 20th, 2007, in Wellington, Ohio, 16-year-old Daniel Petrick argued with his parents after they confiscated his copy of Halo 3. They had locked the game in a safe, believing he had become dangerously addicted. While they were out, Daniel discovered where the key was hidden and retrieved both the game and his father's pistol. When his parents returned, he confronted them in the living room. He asked them to close their eyes, saying he had a surprise. Instead, he raised the pistol and fired. His mother, Susan, was killed instantly. His father, Mark, was shot in the head, but survived. Daniel attempted to frame his father by placing the gun in his hand. Paramedics arrived quickly and saved him. Daniel was arrested and later sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. The case shocked the United States, raising questions about violent video games and teenage obsession.
Bro, I guess the parents got one thing right. They were right that he was dangerously addicted to Halo. So addicted that he was willing to unalive his own parents because of Halo. But the one thing that their parents got wrong was birthing this guy. This guy is a mistake. He's an accident. How can your own son unalive you because of Halo? If they hadn't have put the Halo into the safe, then the son wouldn't have been able to find the gun. But honestly, based on like this incident, I feel like the son probably would have found a way, one way or another, to unalive his parents eventually, even if like the gun wasn't in the safe to begin with. But yeah, this guy's playing way too much Halo. He thinks Halo is in real life. He thinks his parents are just gonna respawn like in Halo. And at 16 years old as well. Jesus Christ. When I was 16, I didn't even know Halo existed. I think the first time I played COD was like when I was 17 or something.
The Pokemon Cliff. On September 7th, 2016, two men in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, were playing Pokemon Go along a coastal path. The mobile game, which used GPS and augmented reality, had become a global sensation only weeks earlier. Players often followed the app into unfamiliar areas while chasing virtual creatures. That afternoon, the men, aged 21 and 22, walked together while staring at their phones. The trail narrowed near a steep drop overlooking the sea. Focused on the screen, they failed to notice the edge. Both fell from a height of more than 65 feet. Emergency responders were called immediately by nearby witnesses. One of the men was found alive but badly injured. The other was discovered at the base of the cliff, unresponsive. He was declared dead at the hospital a short time later. Japanese authorities urged players to pay more attention to their surroundings, and the case received wide coverage in national and international media.
Jesus Christ, falling to your death because of a Pokemon, because of pixels? Was it really worth it? Like, what type of Pokemon was even there? Like, what Pokemon could possibly be on the other side of a cliff? Like, maybe it was a flying Pokemon, like it was like a bird, like it could be Charizard. Charizard was there, but can't you just like stand like kind of close to it and like not go over the cliff to catch it? Like, you can, like, I've played Pokemon Go before, you can just catch it from kind of far away. And so I'm surprised these people didn't die earlier, because bro, if they're like walking, like just not looking anywhere else, just at their phone, I'm surprised they didn't accidentally like walk onto like train tracks or like onto the road. But instead I think they got something even worse, like walking off an entire cliff. Or maybe they were so immersed into their phone that all other senses just shut down, like they can't hear, can't speak, they can only see the phone.
The GTA incident. On August 3rd, 2008, in Bangkok, Thailand, 18-year-old high school student Paul Wat Chino hailed a taxi late at night. When they reached his destination, instead of paying, he pulled a knife and attacked the 54-year-old driver. He stabbed him multiple times before dragging the body from the car and attempting to drive away. Witnesses quickly alerted police, who intercepted him only minutes later. He confessed that he had been playing Grand Theft Auto and wanted to know what it felt like to hijack a car in real life. Investigators said he showed no signs of intoxication or mental illness, only fixation on the game. The teenager was charged with murder and robbery. He was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. Thai authorities responded by temporarily pulling copies of Grand Theft Auto 4 from store shelves, citing the killing as evidence of dangerous influence. The crime received international coverage and became one of the first game-inspired homicides.
Bro, I thought this sort of stuff was just a joke. I thought like this doesn't even exist in real life. Like you play GTA and then you go and do GTA in real life. But to be fair, the game is pretty realistic, and yeah, it can like it's very obvious. If you play GTA before, you'll sort of understand how it could potentially influence people to try this stuff in real life. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure most humans are smart enough to understand that you should never do anything in GTA in real life. That's why the phrase in GTA exists. Like, it's in GTA. Everything in GTA. We're not doing it in real life in GTA. But also, if this guy had really played GTA, he would understand that he doesn't have to kill the guy in order to hijack the car. In GTA, you just pull them out and you just hijack it, and they're just alive, calm. But instead, he just goes and kills them. Okay, maybe this guy was playing the wrong GTA. He was playing GTA, like he was playing some random like bootleg like knockoff GTA, and maybe in that GTA copy they killed the driver. But interestingly, he had no mental illness, and so he couldn't claim it was like schizophrenia or anything. He was just genuinely stupid. Like, he was actually stupid. And the reason why this is concerning is because most people in this world don't have any like, like mental illness or anything, and so anyone could be technically capable of playing GTA and getting inspired by GTA and doing this in real life, which is, yeah, very bad. Very bad. And so honestly, if I was in charge of the country, what was it, Thailand, I think I would also ban like GTA. I would ban every single copy of GTA from being played in that country.
The Pokemon Train. On August 23rd, 2016, in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, a 39-year-old truck driver was driving on a rural road while playing Pokemon Go. Distracted by the game, he failed to see two women crossing at a railway intersection. The truck struck both pedestrians. One woman, aged 72, died instantly. The second, aged 60, was rushed to hospital with critical injuries and died shortly afterward. Witnesses said the driver never braked before impact. Police arrested the man at the scene. He admitted he had been playing Pokemon Go behind the wheel. Prosecutors charged him with dangerous driving resulting in death. The case made national headlines in Japan, where the government had already issued public safety warnings about the game. Following the tragedy, Niantic, the game's developer, added new warnings for players not to use the app while operating vehicles. Despite the changes, the Tokushima crash remains one of the deadliest incidents linked to mobile gaming distraction.
Bro, did they really need to add those extra warnings? Like, do not use this game while driving? Isn't that very obvious? You shouldn't even be using your phone for anything at all while driving. Like, in what countries are you allowed to use your phone while driving? Yeah, there are no countries in the world where it's legal to use a handheld phone while driving. So, what is the point of this information? Well, like, what is the point of the warnings? You shouldn't be using that anyway. You shouldn't be playing Pokemon Go while driving a truck. Out of all things, a truck is the worst thing you could be driving while playing Pokemon Go, because with trucks you have so much mass and then you have so much momentum and force going into someone. Like, that of course is going to kill someone. Like, maybe if you're driving like a scooter or like a bike, like maybe it would be a little bit more acceptable, although it would be, pretty illegal still. But if you're driving a huge massive vehicle, that, like, of course that's gonna do some serious damage. Because even if you didn't crash directly into a person, you still could have crashed into a building and just like still crash into a person through the building. But yeah, maybe this guy was like so bored of like truck driving. Like, I assume truck driving is very, very boring. Like, you're just on the road just for like hours, just doing nothing. So yeah, maybe he was just a little bit bored, just playing Pokemon Go on the side. But yeah, it's just still no excuse for playing Pokemon Go while you're driving a truck.
The VR incident. On December 21st, 2017, a 44-year-old man in Moscow, Russia, was at home using a virtual reality headset. He moved through his apartment while immersed in the game, unaware of obstacles around him. Investigators later determined that he stumbled while playing and crashed directly into a glass table. The impact shattered the surface, slicing deep into his body. Alone in the apartment, he was unable to call for help. Neighbors reported hearing a loud crash, but did not enter. Hours later, family members found him lying in the living room surrounded by broken glass. He had bled to death from severe wounds to his head and neck. Moscow authorities confirmed the accident, noting that it was one of the first recorded cases of a fatality linked directly to the use of a VR headset. The unusual circumstances attracted international attention, with headlines highlighting the hidden dangers of playing immersive games in unsafe environments.
Okay, so this guy was 44 years old, and the reason why he died was because he was alone in the apartment, and so no one else could call for help. But if you're alone at 44 years old, I'm pretty sure the main reason why he was using VR in the first place was because he was alone. I think he was using that as a way to sort of like, you know, like beat boredom and like just get rid of his feelings of loneliness and everything. So this is actually kind of sad, because I assume like maybe, okay, not necessarily he was doing sussy stuff on the VR, but he could have, you know, just been, you know, just trying to form connections, friendships, relationships through the VR, like the VR world, like VR chat. Like maybe he was doing the frickety with some random girl on VR, and then that's when he like crashed into the table. That would have been extremely sad, because I assume everyone on the VR like that was talking to him, that like they'd be able to know something is wrong. Like the guy's just crashed into something, but like they don't know where he lives, because VR is very, I feel like it's very anonymous. Like that's like the whole internet is very anonymous, and so not even his friends on VR could save him, which is yeah, kind of sad. So I think ultimately this was just like a random lonely gooner that was just trying to like, you know, beat his loneliness. So that's why it's important to check up on like family members who are lonely, because like bro, like this could have happened like in any other situation. Like even if it wasn't VR, he could have just fallen normally without VR, and he would have still been alone and still bled out to death. And so bro, like if you have family members that are alone, perhaps it's a good idea to periodically check up on them.